So I realize I'm quite late to the party when it comes to Us, but I do have quite a lot to talk about when it comes to this movie. But firstly, thank you very much for submitting some of your questions for the Q&A. I plan to have that out within 4 to 5 days because I'm going to be reviewing Shazam first, and then I'll do the Q&A video. Also, you might have noticed that this is the first time in a very, very long time that I've uploaded 2 videos in a day. That's simply because my Atomic Blonde trailer mashup got taken down for copyright reasons, and so I decided just to upload the Avengers one now. Because I've got a lot of videos planned for the next 2-3 weeks. Expect like at least 3 videos every week until the end of April. And so I decided to upload that now so that I can kind of have some time to work on a Joker trailer mashup, a potential Joker trailer mashup. More on that in the Q&A video. But God, I love that trailer. I'm just gonna give you some sort of my non-spoilery thoughts on Us first, for those of you who might still have not seen the film. I liked it a lot. I had a really good time with it. One of the things that struck me was that Jordan Peele has grown quite significantly as a filmmaker. There are a lot of scenes, a lot of moments of tension and intensity that feel a lot more effective than Get Out, that are more well directed than Get Out. Us is certainly a lot scarier than Get Out. It's a lot more intense. It's much more along the lines of a traditional horror thriller. I would say though that when compared to films like Hereditary or Suspiria or even A Quiet Place, that the directing feels somewhat tame compared to those films, but it is effective and it does work quite well. I love the performances. I thought all the performances were terrific, especially Lupita Nyong'o, who straight up gives the best performance of the year so far. She deserves an Oscar nomination for this, in my opinion. It's early days, but her performance here, or her performances, should I say, were truly outstanding. I would say, though, that my 2 big non-spoiler criticisms for the film would be that, one, the technical aspects of the film, the directing, you know, does feel somewhat tame, as I said, compared to Ari Aster and Luca Guadagnino, what they did last year with their films. I would say though that the score is outstanding. It's again by far the best score of the year, but the rest of the filmmaking did feel relatively tame, and I feel like a story with this level of extremity needed more extreme directing, needed something that was a little bit more ballsy and experimental, but that's just my opinion. The second piece of criticism that I have for the film is that, weirdly enough, I did not relate to this film as much as I did to Get Out. Which is, yeah, like I said, it's quite weird because I have never thought about what it would be like to have a white girlfriend who took me to a parent's home and then have the parents put a white man's brain into this Asian body. Whereas, you know, I'm sure all of us have thought about what it would be like to have an evil twin. And the concept of Us is really exciting and intriguing, you know, like how would you fare against this evil twin, you know? Could you take them in a fight? How do you outthink them? Because they think in the same way that you do. They look like you, they move like you know, but they also think like you. And that's also something that I wish they had played up a little bit more. The idea of each, you know, side of them trying to one-up each other through kind of like psychological warfare, if you get what I mean. That was something that was lacking and missing from the film, in my opinion. That would have made it a lot more fun and interesting. But yeah, despite that, I was much more invested in Daniel Kaluuya's character than any one of the characters in Us. Maybe it's because he's one protagonist and here we have 4. But, you know, I still really cared about the characters. Again, the characterization worked well, and I love the performances. So anyway, let's get into some of the spoilers. Now, one of the things that I love about a plot twist is that it can make you recontextualize the whole film. It will make you kind of rethink the film completely and see it in a whole different light, right? And that is something that works really well for the plot twist in Us. You know, you watch the whole film again and then you would completely analyze Lupita Nyong'o's performance from a completely different perspective. And that's one of the things I loved. However, like many people, I did predict the twist from like the opening scene. It wasn't something that I was certain about, but I certainly thought to myself this was a possibility, and it was on the back of my head throughout the whole film, and it was revealed. It wasn't like, oh my god, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, I guess I was right. It's not necessarily the twist that's important, but it's the effect the twist has on the rest of the film. And I thought that it had a tremendous effect on the film, because you watch it and you're like, well, you know, Lupita Nyong'o is scared, like the good Lupita is scared of going back to the beach, because she knows the evil Lupita is probably lurking around there somewhere. And of course, when she's young, during those therapy scenes, she doesn't talk not because she doesn't want to or because she's too traumatized, but literally because she doesn't know how to, right? And of course, the evil Lupita is the only one who knows how to talk, because she spent, you know, a couple years, on the surface and then her voice is messed up because she got choked, and that might have damaged her vocal cords or something. So it all makes sense, and then the level of attention, the attention to detail is really, really admirable. So I thought the twist itself wasn't that shocking, but when you go back and think about the film and kind of think about that performance again, it really, really works. So the way that it affects the characters as well. I do really like this idea of the Jason twist that's been going around. You can watch a video on that. There's tons of videos on the internet about that. I think that's a much more subtle one. There are, of course, quite a few moments that don't make a ton of sense. There are a lot of plot holes. For example, where do they get the jumpsuits from? Where do they get the the scissors? Realistically, like a sword or a knife or like a gun would have been a lot more useful. And where do they get all this stuff from? How does the evil Lupita communicate with the rest of the Tethered? How did she find all of them so easily? What is the whole Hands Across America thing all about? What I know it probably like symbolizes something, but on a practical level, what's the plan? What's the their end goal? What are they going to do now that the evil Lupita, their leader, is dead? Right? So a lot of it just is kind of left in the air, and there are, of course, more questions than answers. But I did find that the answers that were given were relatively, they were good. They were satisfying and they worked for the story. I just wish that some of it made a little bit more sense. I'm not too bothered by these plot holes, because like the red jumpsuits and the the scissors and everything. It's an interesting visual. And it works well for the story in the film, but I just wish that they had justified it a little bit more. That's just my opinion. My one concern, though, is that Jordan Peele has said that he has 2 more films planned for this kind of series of his horror films, and because Get Out and Us feel so similar from a directorial point of view, and then obviously they're quite different in terms of the themes and stuff, but if he makes 2 more of these, I'm just worried that they will become too samey, because they look very similar. That the music and everything, it feels like a Jordan Peele film. But I just feel like from a filmmaking point of view that he needs to differentiate a little bit more. But again, that's just my opinion. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching my video on Us. Please stay tuned for the Shazam video, what's it called, the Q&A. And a lot more videos to come this month. I'm doing an absurd amount of videos coming this month. So thank you very, very much for watching, and I hope you stay tuned for more to come. Thank you.